Welcome to the Positive Productivity Podcast, episode 113.
Welcome to Positive Productivity Podcast, where we empower our audience to achieve and appreciate personal and professional success, especially in the face of adversity. Listen in as our guests reveal their stories of challenges and hurdles and how they overcame defeat and became triumphant in their endeavors. Let's get motivated and move forward with your host, Kim Sutton.
Just about a year ago, I was getting ready to launch the Positive Productivity Podcast. And one of the last episodes that I recorded prior to the launch was with Mark Mason of Late Night Internet Marketing. I had been listening to his podcast for a few months, and I was shocked when he responded that he would actually come on and let me interview him. I was so blown away when we got on the call because I felt like I was talking to a celebrity. When I told him so, he said, "Why? I'm just a person like you." Now, a year later, I'm finding myself in the same shoes. Please don't think I'm trying to be vain or anything, but the purpose of this episode today is to remind you that podcasters are people too. The only difference between you and me is that I'm on this side of the microphone and you are listening to me. If you have a podcast or if you're thinking about starting one, chances are people look at you in a celebrity status. Just because I am on this side of the microphone and hopefully motivating, encouraging you, doesn't mean that I think I am any better of a person than you are. To be totally honest, I still go through so many of the struggles that I talk about on the show on a daily basis, and that's where a lot of the inspiration comes from. Earlier this week, I was on a training session call for the new media summit, which Steve Olsher is holding in San Diego this fall. You can check the show notes for a link and find out more. And the show notes will be at thekimsutton.com/pp113. However, while I was on this training session, some of the attendees were expressing the fact that they are nervous to be talking to the influencers and icons who will be there. In full disclosure, I am going to be there both as an attendee and as an icon and influencer. And it sort of surprised me that people could actually be nervous to talk to me. I don't bite, I don't hit, I don't scream. So I hadn't really thought about the fact that people might be nervous to talk to me just because of my podcasting status. Although it may not have been appropriate, I had to speak up and I shared an analogy I found. As you may have realized already, I do get quite a few analogies out of everyday inspirations from my children, but I started to think about the book, Everybody Poops. Regardless of what side of the microphone you're on, you got to remember that the person on the other side is no different from you. Everybody poops. We're all still people. We all still have bills to pay. We all still get intimidated by people who we see at a higher status. If by chance you're at New Media Summit in September, I don't want you to be shocked when I stumble over my words. If you want to be amused and you haven't already listened to it, go back and listen to podcast episode 57, which you can find at thekimsutton.com/pp057, and there you will find my blooper reel. As a side note, there will be plenty from this episode added to the next blooper reel, because if you haven't already heard them, my kittens are going crazy in the background. Life happens for all of us. Business happens for all of us. We all experience our own celebrations and challenges. But regardless of what our, quote, celebrity status is, we're all still people. If you consider yourself to have celebrity status, I want to encourage you to be approachable and to not have your nose in the air. And should any of you ever come across me at an event or out in public, please know that I am always approachable. I might be a little bit flustered if I've got my kids with me, but I would love to chat with you sometime. For the final side note of the episode, podcasters are people too, and not all of us have scripts that we read from. So now that I've gone off script and deviated enough, I want you to go forth and have a positive and productive day. Hey there, this is Kim Sutton, host of the Positive Productivity Podcast, and I just want to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it and were inspired, I would love to hear your feedback. Please take a moment or two and visit the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or on my website at thekimsutton.com to leave your rating or review. I'd also like to invite you to join the Positive Productivity Book Club and to find out more about my coaching packages by visiting thekimsutton.com. Until the next episode, I hope you have a positive and productive day.